growth policies, I consider you dedicated to common sense. I'd like to start off right away with a declaration of my political beliefs and political faith. I'm a supply sider because I believe that we're essentially a private economy, and that if the government returns money to the private economy, that economy grows. Now, I not only believe this, I believe that the only one running for president who has actually made this work. I've actually made it work. I've actually done it. So I'm not a supply sider just out of theory or ideas. I'm a supply sider because I actually made it work and showed the results of it in tremendous economic growth. Low taxes stimulate. They expand freedom, they spark innovation, and they increase prosperity. But why would anybody be surprised by that? Freedom works. A lot of people will come here and they're going to be talking about tax cuts and spending cuts and economic results, and I think that's great. I appreciate all the support for those principles that we can have. But I point out to you that I'm the one who has the record of results from doing each and every one of those things. Not once, not twice, but in many cases, 8, 9, 10, 12 times, and against very, very big odds. So I ask you to compare results. Rhetoric's important. Ideas are important. The most important thing are results. And the results that I had in New York City was a city that I was handed that was in economic distress. Some people thought in economic crisis. We had 10% or more unemployment. We had lost 350,000 jobs. Our taxes were the highest in the country. Our citizens were leaving in large numbers. People were hopeless. 60% of the population, 70% of the population wanted to live somewhere else. Do you know what it feels like to finally get elected mayor of the city that you come from, and 70% of the people want to leave and go somewhere else? By the time I left, 70% wanted to stay. 75% thought it was going in the right direction. We cut unemployment in half. We replaced the loss of 350,000 jobs with a gain of 460,000 jobs. We moved 640,000 people off welfare. And all the things that I said we accomplished, which I call results, not just rhetoric or talk, all of the things that I just said we accomplished with the policies and the programs that you believe in, and the policies and programs that you're going to discuss at this conference. Smaller government, lower taxes, much more accountable government, more balanced regulations. In other words, we very simply reduced the influence of government over the economy of New York City. We reduced taxes by $9 billion, and we put the taxes back in the pockets of our citizens. And those citizens, even the taxpayers, more wisely than government. So, I don't even know why we debate it any longer. How about we just make a simple statement? Tax cuts work. They work. They worked for President Kennedy. They worked for President Reagan. They work for President Bush right now. They helped Germany and Japan rebuild after their economies were broken by World War II. They worked in New York City for me. Even France. Even France is considering tax cuts under Sarkozy. And I've been checking on this, maybe they'll contradict me when they check on this. The only place anybody in the whole world is thinking about big tax increases is right here in Washington, D.C. That's it. And they happen to be Democrats, and they're running for President of the United States. I gotta tell you my dream. I gotta tell you my dream. Are there any psychiatrists in this audience? Okay. Here's the dream. I just read this book a few weeks ago by the new president of France, Nicolas Sarkozy. President Sarkozy is writing probably about a year ago. And he's writing about how he wants to come to the United States, and he's writing about how he wants to use our policies to help France. Whether it's reducing taxes, corporate taxes, reducing the size of government. He wants to do something very similar to what I want to do, only rehire half the people who retire, to shrink the civilian workforce. You like that idea? Yeah, that's a great idea, isn't it? And he wants to get the French to work more than 35 hours a week. Come on, good for that, right? And he wants to do it by giving them tax-free income after 35 hours a week. So I have this dream now about 4 or 5 times. Can't get rid of it. Have it over and over again. President Sarkozy's on an airplane. He's flying to the United States. This other airplane is coming from the United States to France. He gets perilously close to his airplane. They almost hit as they cross over the Atlantic. They get real close to each other like this. So you can see inside the window of Sarkozy's plane from the other plane, and Sarkozy can see inside the window of the plane headed for France. And they all wave to each other because they recognize each other. Sarkozy's in one plane, and the people going from the United States to France waving to him are Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and John Edwards. They want to go to France to figure out how they can take all those failed policies and put them in effect here in the United States. Bigger government, higher taxes,